Hey guys, welcome to this week's video in which I'm going to be talking about this exact camera. I receive questions about my Intrepid camera on a regular basis, so I've decided to make a video about pluses and minuses of this camera after almost 2 years of daily use for everybody out there who would like to get into large format photography. Before I start, I'd like to emphasize that this is not a paid promotion by any means. Why have I decided to buy the Intrepid camera? I'm a landscape shooter, meaning I'm on the field a lot, so I was definitely searching for something which is lightweight and portable and something that's not going to empty my pockets completely. So the Intrepid camera seemed like an obvious choice to me, and it was definitely worth the long wait. This is the older model Mark III, and I believe that the newer model Mark IV that has many improvements still costs the same, which is around 280 pounds. When the camera is assembled, it may look very beefy, but you can fold it down completely like this, making it extremely portable and self-protected. The only exposed part left is the focusing screen, but Intrepid took care of that as well by adding a piece of custom cut acrylic plate that arrived with the camera. I don't have it with me right now as I store my camera in this hard case. Whenever I go hiking high up into the mountains, every gram counts, and let me tell you that weight with large format photography adds up very quickly. The Intrepid camera is mostly made out of lightweight materials like plywood, aluminium and ABS, so it weighs only 1.2 kilos. This Intrepid has an aluminium base plate on the bottom with a screw thread that makes sure you have a secure and sturdy connection with your tripod. Once I have my camera on the tripod, I start setting it up by unscrewing and lifting the back standard. I heard some complaints that it's hard to know when it's square, which is partially true, but I help myself by aligning the frame and the bracket like this. After the back standard is in place, I extend the bellows and screw down the front standard in one of 3 threads depending on the lens I'm using. There are a few more screws to be fastened, and that's it. I love just how quickly it can be set up, as I'm often in a rush to catch the right moment and light. This camera allows you to make quite a lot of movement, so let's start at the front. You can raise or lower the front standard, tilt it back and forth, and you can even move it left or right. It's all possible with these geniusly designed bolts. On the back, however, you're a bit more limited, as you can only tilt the back standard backwards or forwards like this. Or if you unscrew these 2 screws on the bottom, you can also tilt it sideways, but not much. It's definitely not the most precise system out there, but with some practice it will give you the results you want. Just a quick tip before moving on: when you're out in the field, I strongly recommend you to always bring with you a multi-tool like this, because you're going to be able to fix and adjust pretty much everything on this camera. As you know, in large format photography, focus can be reached by extending or contracting the bellows like this, and this is all possible with a focusing mechanism which is built inside here. Let's take a look. Intrepid uses 3D printed gears, as you can see at the bottom here. With the left knob you can tighten or loosen the mechanism, and with the one on the right you are moving the 2 gears I just showed you that push the front standard backwards and forwards. With a loosened mechanism it's really hard to fine adjust the focus, so what I do is fasten this plate down almost completely, so this knob becomes really stiff, and then you can do the micro movements like this. Another drawback of this system is the focus slipping. If the camera is tilted under a steeper angle like this, you can see that the focus is just slipping back on its own. Another very important part of getting your image sharp is focusing screen, this glass part right here. You can also change it for a Fresnel screen, but I never bother getting one because I mostly shoot outdoors, as you can see. The screen is held in place with these 2 metal springs. When I got the camera, the screen was making quite a lot of noise when I carried it around, and it turned out that the springs were loose, so a few turns with a precision Phillips screwdriver and I never heard anything again. When you insert the film holder, it's pressed tight to the frame with these two springs that look a bit quirky and could definitely be designed better, but I mean, as long as they do their job well, I don't mind. Okay, let's move on. Knowing how affordable this camera is, I really didn't expect it to be that well made, because if you've been watching my videos and if you know my work, you've probably seen that I don't have my camera just sitting on a shelf all pretty and cleaned up, but it's a piece of equipment that I use on a regular basis in all kinds of weather conditions. For instance, this camera has been through pouring rain, snow blizzards and so on, and the first thing that usually gives up on these cheaper models are the bellows, but not with this one. Bellows on this camera are very well made. I would even say that they are the most quality part of the camera. They are made out of a synthetic material that is waterproof and it will not lose its structure even if you accidentally squish a part of it. You can simply pop the panels back in place. Also, all the 3D printed knobs, aluminum and wooden parts are holding up very well without any major additional fixing or treatment. Basically, the only complaint I have about the materials on this camera are these screws inside here that turn the back standard, and these knobs on the side here. Let me show it to you a bit closer, if you're gonna be able to see. They, as you can see here, they started to rust. They are not made out of aluminum, so they are just painted black, and through time the paint just wears off. And now what I have to do is clean them up every now and then and give them some lube to keep them in good shape. I'm really pleased with these cameras. It offers an amazing ratio between quality, portability and price, which is incredibly hard to beat. And I would recommend this camera to everybody who is getting started in large format photography. It may not arrive completely perfect out of the box, and after some use you'll probably have to tighten some screws, but if you do so, it's gonna provide and produce incredible images for a long time. If you have any further questions about this camera, or if you have any information about the newer model, please leave them in the comments below.